Chuck Schumer, of course, is supporting Jimmy Kimmel, like every Democrat politician. These are the same Democrat politicians, by the way, that were all for cancel culture. Lest we forget this, too. Cancel culture became a thing because of Democrats and liberals that didn't want to hear opinions from people on the right or conservatives, Republicans. So they started, they were in charge, liberals, of all the social media platforms. And some of the comedy clubs were owned by liberals. The networks, we all know, are owned by liberals. You want to get mad at Disney? They fired that girl from one of the Star Wars shows for saying about what, the vaccine or something. And then Roseanne makes a joke, a funny joke. Girl from the Planet of the Apes did look like the politician she was talking about. And in context of Roseanne being a joke, being a comic and telling jokes, that fit in perfectly. ABC fired her. What happened? Where was Chuck Schumer screaming for a lawsuit against ABC and Disney? Nothing. So, this is why I bring up the hypocrisy angle. They don't give a about actual First Amendment rights and rights for people to express themselves. And I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend with my life your right to say it. Shut up. Anyone that says that, I always have to say, bullshit. Such a lie. They want to protect whatever speech they agree with. So if someone's speaking and they agree with it, it's great. And if something happens where they have any pushback on what they're saying, they will come and go, that's unconstitutional, against the First Amendment. And then someone else, like, shock jock Anthony Cumia gets fired. Not a peep from Chuck Schumer? What happened, Chuck? What happened to this First Amendment? I'll defend with my life. I'll get out of here. Grab your musket and go defend me. Because they're all just hypocrites. Most everyone is, to a point. But, like I said, this isn't a First Amendment thing unless the FCC, there you go. Here's Chuck Schumer and his buddy Vladimir Sputin. Hi, this is Anthony Cumia.
Hello, I'm Gavin McInnes.
And together we're Compound Censored.
And we would like you to subscribe with this deal using this promo code right below me right now.
Do it, because it's very entertaining. Yeah, like I said, if the FCC commissioner did do more than just say, we're looking into this, and what that might be, that might just be a First Amendment violation. And then you can move on. But right now, yelling that this is a First Amendment violation, you're a hypocrite. You said nothing about Roseanne. Yeah. America is meant to be a bastion of free speech. Everyone across the political spectrum should be speaking out to stop what's happening to Jimmy Kimmel. This is about protecting democracy. This must go to court. Oh, really? Was it going to go to court when Roseanne got fired, or I got fired, or the Mandalorian girl, or Tucker Carlson got fired? Tucker Carlson, this is also Chuck, spewed rhetoric that echoes replacement theory at least 400 times on his show since 2016. This is a poison being spread by one of the largest news organizations in America, Fox News. They need to stop spreading dangerous racist lies and conspiracy theories. So it's, to Rupert Murdoch, from Representative Jeffries and me, Chuck Schumer. Direct Tucker Carlson and other hosts of your network to stop spreading false election narratives and admit on the air that they were wrong to engage in such negligent behavior. These are government officials getting in touch with a broadcast news agency and telling them what their host should talk about or shouldn't talk about. That seems a little infringy. That's a little infringy if you ask me. But, no one understands the dynamic between the First Amendment, the government, and private corporate entities. They're very different. And a private company is not beholden to the Constitution. In respect to the First Amendment, I don't know why people don't understand that. It's very simple. Very simple. I went through it, I understood it, and never even thought of bringing a lawsuit against SiriusXM because they're a private company. What am I going to do? Nothing. They could fire me for anything. And that's what they did. Here's, let's see, there's another one. Oh, yeah, as far as the firings go, a lot of liberal douchebags on social media are being fired. And they consider that a First Amendment thing, too. It's not. It's not even, it doesn't even resemble a First Amendment issue. Like I said at the top of the show, you say something, your employer doesn't like it, they don't like you as a person for saying what you said, you're gone. No recourse. Sorry. Find another job. Learn to prompt something that writes code. There it is. It's even easier now. You don't even have to learn to code. Learn to prompt so AI can code for you. This is another fired lib spouting off about losing their job. And I don't know. I kind of like these. Got to be honest. I've seen enough of my colleagues and friends on the other end of this doxing and firing bullshit. Like I said, four years under the Biden administration was cancel culture. When Twitter was owned by a bleeding heart douchebag liberal, we still have Facebook owned by liberals. YouTube, you got to tiptoe your ass around what you put there. They've loosened up a lot, but you still got to tiptoe around their terms of service. But, just getting kicked off of Twitter, and people said that was not a First Amendment issue because Twitter is a private company and they can get rid of everybody they want to. Well, that was a little different too. They were running a public forum, a public platform. You weren't employed by Twitter when you were posting these things. Twitter aligned themselves with certain government agencies to put out emergency broadcast messages. If there was going to be a hurricane in the area, they put out amber alerts and silver alerts. And the president and political leaders discussed what they were up to on that platform. So removing someone based on their political ideology from that platform was more than just firing an employee of Twitter. It became the soapbox in the town square where there was an assumption of a freedom to voice your opinion. And there was a definite bias there between left and right, liberal and conservative. A lot of conservatives bit the dust on Twitter talking about issues that the left were talking about, had an opposing view on it, and were left alone. This is what was happening during cancel culture. Comedians were not allowed to play at certain clubs because of their ideology and their act. Their act was deemed some kind of phobic. They weren't getting specials or shows on liberal platforms like Netflix. And, this was cancel culture. This went on for years Years. And now, not even a year into Trump's presidency, and we see an example of a high-profile person being fired. And again, it's not a First Amendment issue, at least not yet. And they're losing their minds. Like, Trump is a tyrant, an oppressor, a dictator, doesn't want freedom of speech. What do you call the 4 years under Biden? The president. President Trump was removed from Twitter. Removed from Twitter. That's a good thing? That's not oppressive and tyrannical on the left? Of course it is. We want to hear what he has to say without it being funneled through mainstream media. And we were. But the owner of Twitter at the time didn't want Trump to be heard unfiltered. So we got rid of Trump's account, and the only way we could see Trump was through the filter of network news. And they edited him, they took him out of context, they cut him off in the middle of a speech. So that isn't some type of infringement at that point? Just asking the questions, man. Just asking the questions. So here's another fired lib spouting off about losing their job. Very sad. Get a tissue.
Hi, my name is Nancy D, and I was fired on Friday for saying that I was having a hard time finding empathy for Charlie Kirk. Apparently, I was doxxed by a convicted and pardoned January 6th on Twitter. And so my name and my company's name was put out there, and then my company was flooded with calls for my termination. And this is day one of unemployment. Hi, my name is Nancy.
Whoopsie. A Jan 6er got her. I wonder how many posts she made about Jan 6ers and how they should rot in prison and, fuck it. So she's, upset. She got fired. She said she couldn't find any empathy. Again, I don't know. I think you have a piece of you that is supposed to be empathetic to watching a husband and father, a man that never advocated for violence, was a free speech advocate, gave everyone a fair chance to get up to a microphone that was just as loud as his on these college campuses and debate controversial issues. If it was, Jeffrey Dahmer, let's say, somehow there was a glitch in the paperwork of his trial and he gets out and he's waving at the prison gate as they let him out, and wham, he gets shot in the neck and blood spurts out of his neck and he drops dead right there. I think if you say, I found it hard to find empathy for that man, I don't think a lot of people would argue that point. I think a lot of people would see that as a just ending to his murderous, horrible career of mutilation, cannibalism, and death. I think you do have to take into context the guy that you're talking about. I described Charlie Kirk. That's who he was. A decent man who said things that some people described as inflammatory or controversial or racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever it is. But truth be told, he pulled up a chair, 2 microphones. The opposition got up there and he debated them with only words and with respect and dignity to anyone that came up to that mic, no matter how fucking stupid they looked. And believe me, there's plenty of clips out there of unbelievably retarded people dressed like freaks stepping up to that mic. And he was always respectful and let them speak and would debate them. And more times than not, he had them looking very foolish, but not by goofing on them or anything, just by stating facts and his opinions. So for this woman to say she couldn't find any empathy for Charlie Kirk, live 4K high def image of a man bleeding out immediately, knowing his wife and kids are there in front of thousands of people that love him or hate him, that is traumatic. And you just couldn't muster up any empathy. Well, maybe that is what your employer saw. Maybe it wasn't the actual words. He saw someone working for him that couldn't muster up empathy for a murdered man, a decent man that was murdered, that you just happen to disagree with. And your employer said, yeah, I don't want that working for me. There you go. First Amendment? I think not. Here's another fired person. This is a teacher, a professor over at Rider University. And this person was fired for commenting about Charlie Kirk's dick. It's a woman. And look at what she posted here. This is Kate. Ugh. It's Kate. Ugh. Charlie Kirk was a small dick podcaster who has never made a woman come. Equals flag at half staff. Yeah, we get it. We get it. Just a terrible thing to post. Let me see. If you're like Kevin Brennan could post that and everyone would be like, oh, what an asshole. But it's Kevin Brennan. He's an asshole. That's his job. He's a full-time asshole with a podcast. And, he said things about, what's his name from Friends when he OD'd, Chandler Bing, whatever his real name is, who cares?
Matt Perry.
Yeah, Matthew Perry. And, people are like, oh, that's bad. Why do you do that? Because that's what he is. Again, context. So this woman writes something like that someone like Kevin Brennan would post. And she's a professor at a university, right? Could you blow that up a little bit? My eyes are going crazy. There you go. Today, Rider University let me go, not for failing my students. What? Yeah, for failing your students. You failed them by being a piece of shit. Maybe the college doesn't want a piece of shit teaching their kids. And you proved yourself to be as big a piece of shit as certain comics out there, like Kevin Brennan. But again, Kevin gets paid for being a piece of shit. You get paid for being an educator to young, malleable minds. And you post something like that? I'm not offended by the words. And there are plenty of people that could say that or post that, and I wouldn't give it a second glance. Oh, okay. Someone said it on Kill Tony. But again, context. I'm not saying that people don't have the right to post what they want, but in certain circumstances and context, like a professor that teaches kids or young adults to post something so vile, there's where the line is of, well, yeah, you could fire her for what she said, and it's not a First Amendment violation. I was dismissed because I dared to call out the hypocrisy of those mourning Charlie Kirk while ignoring the endless stream of children slaughtered in their classrooms, students gunned down on campuses, and innocent people murdered in public spaces. Charlie Kirk's little dick, that was your educated way to debate and call out hypocrisy. He couldn't make his wife come. That's your educated college professor take. All right. I am sad, yes, but I am not broken. I know I am on the right side of history. Yes, somewhere in a history book 200 years from now, they will read the Charlie Kirk small dick can't make his wife come post and go, that woman right there was on the right side of history. They believe this. They honestly believe that they're right. They're on the right side of history and she shouldn't have been fired. Now is not the time to whisper. Now is the time to speak, even when your voice shakes, even when it costs you your comfort, even when institutions would rather protect the status quo than protect lives. I will not be silent. Neither shall you, should you. Stand up, speak out, demand better. Our children's lives depend on it. Demand better? Like Charlie Kirk has a little dick and he can't make his wife come better? That better? This is common. These aren't anomalous little one nut or in fucking competent teacher or fucking horrible person. The left abounds with people like this. And the fact that they don't understand why they're being fired and try to make some excuse that it's a First Amendment issue. And they call me out when I talk like this because I'm one of the great defenders of the First Amendment. Anthony, how dare you? How dare you not be behind every single person being fired? Because all they were doing was voicing, speaking out, posting something on social media. They got bosses. I had a boss. I got fired, they get fired. Boss don't like you anymore for what you said. You get fired. Why would I support that woman? She seems like a horrible person, a terrible person. And she posted things that her employer didn't want someone that could possibly think that way walking around the workplace. So you fire her. Is that really the First Amendment? I don't know. You got to convince me a little more about that one. Yep. Yeah, I guess that's it for that one, but I might have more from yesterday. I got other things to talk about today, but I want to see if we cover all this shit. Oh, yeah, well, these are kind of funny. The Montel Williams thing. This Montel Williams was on MSNBC, the only station that would have him, I guess. It's like in its death throes, MSNBC. First of the year, it becomes MS Now, and no one. For the no one that's watching now, even more no one is going to watch when they become MSNOW.
This is CNN.
Montel
though.
is, what was it?
This is CNN, this clip.
Oh, it was CNN?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
No one gives a fuck. No one cares. They're firing their people. When do they turn into CNNOW? Just do that. So here's Montel talking about the shooter, and obviously they're all bamboozled. They don't know what the motive was. Oh, he was a boyfriend of a trans, a brainwashed liberal, and had a problem with Charlie Kirk and shot him in the neck. But we don't know why. Oh, it's just, we don't know. He was, as Montel says, just some love-torn kid. This is like Romeo and Juliet. Listen to Montel.
There are people who are trying to pigeonhole this as a leftist thing and a right thing. And what we're really talking about, hear me because I'm going to throw you when I say this. We're talking about a love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship, and somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. Oh. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot.
You think he heard it? He could hear it?
I think he could hear it. I think he also, I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally. I think this was a emotionally stunted person who literally, when I say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology.
Kamala Harris sucked the stupid right out of his dick. He's a stupid dispenser. He's a stupid keg, a stupid tap. And she sucked that stupid right into her own face. Because that's stupid. It wasn't political. It's a love thing. Oh, okay. Love. I wonder if he'd feel the same way about Heinrich Himmler. Heinrich Himmler. There's a special out there, a documentary, and it is about Himmler and his wife, and it's a bunch of letters during his entire career, going up into the Nazism and then joining the military and then head of the SS. He had sent letters home and then letters to his girlfriend and who became his wife. These are some of the most beautiful letters. They're emotional. They're full of love. He talks about beautiful things, flowers, mountains, gas chamber. But you really want to go with the love angle? Does this kind of exonerate him, Montel? Is it not as bad if he's not doing this for politics? He's just a love-crazed little kid just lashing out. Was Himmler just a love out a little kid that needed to show his gal that he was good at something? Oh my God. Montel Williams. Here he is. So it's just love. A little bit of love. Ilhan. Yeah, Ilhan Omar. She's talking about how she's afraid. She's afraid as a black woman because who are the most dangerous people? Who are the most dangerous people in the country? Of course, white men. We know this. Anytime I go to the bank, if I go to an ATM or something like that, I'm looking around for white men. They're the ones that might rob you. Carjacking. Oh my God. When white men walk past the door of the car, you got to lock it. Because they're known for carjackings and murders during carjackings. So let's listen to Ilhan Omar saying the country should fear white men.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men. I would say.
Can you believe that? Hey, Swami, you got to fluence these dice. I'll look into my crystal ball, Doc. Nice headwear. Nice headwear. We have to look and make sure that white people, radical white people, aren't doing harm in this nation. How do they get away with that? There she is. Mecca-lecca-hi, mecca-hani-ho. Yeah. She's all large and in charge up there in Minnesota. Poor fucking Minnesota. What did they do? Now they're all stupid. They're all stupid up there. But yeah, so we need programs and everything. We need to deprogram these white supremacists, young white men, because they're the most dangerous. Has she looked at a crime stat? Has she looked at who's doing this? Who are committing the murders in this country? The violent crime in this country? I don't have to say it again. I think we know. I think we all know. So if you enjoyed that clip,
then subscribe to Compound Censored using this promo code.